Hello, everybody. Bad Weather Freak here. It has been a while since I haven't made a video, and we are in the off season of the hurricane season, so that's why I haven't really posted anything recent. Um, Things are starting to change, so I wanted to point out a few things, keep you guys updated as usual. And part of it has to do with the current forecast, early predictions that some of the organizations in the United States and around the world are already publishing some of their predictions. And a lot of those predictions are based off on early signs, sea surface temperatures, patterns in the atmosphere, weather, not weather, but rain or moisture patterns in the Atlantic, especially when in regards to the West African monsoon, which is one of the main factors of to basically get a storm going as soon as those systems leave the coast of Africa and they go through the Atlantic Ocean, and it's warm. It has the right ingredients in the Atlantic. That's what spins up storms, and eventually they get stronger, and unfortunately they make landfall. Some of the Caribbean islands, United States, and other places. So the first thing I wanted to show you guys is the SarasotaMagazine.com. One of their meteorologists, or a group of their meteorologists, basically multiple ones, did this interesting prediction. So right now, the Colorado State University, before I go into this Sarasota one, let me actually show you guys what some of the actual numbers are. Right now, the Colorado State University is the main university that is not, it's not the main one, but everybody looks up to them. Let's put it that way. They have a long career, or a long amount of time. For a long amount of time, basically, they have predicted seasons, and they have, and so pretty much a lot of organizations see them as one of the top organizations to predict. So right now, what we're seeing here, as the average is usually 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes. That's the average. One thing to notice is that for the past 6 years, we have had an early start, and it has been above average hurricane seasons, what we have seen for the last 6 years. It is something that is not normal. Things are changing as far as the weather patterns go. For years, things have been changing. Sea surface temperatures have been getting warmer overall. Summers are becoming hotter. Winters are becoming warmer. I mean, that's just a fact that is happening. So all that has an effect on storms in general. So right now, if you guys notice here, let me kind of use my pen here. Let me move this. Oops. Let me see if I can. All right, let me go back here. I mean, you can kind of see it here. Oops. Let me see. There you go. Come on. Anyways, so what you guys are seeing here is basically the early prediction that the Colorado State University said back in December, that we will probably see anywhere from 13 to 16 storms, 6 to 8 hurricanes, and 2 to 3 major hurricanes. That's what the early prediction was. As of April 7th of this year, they revised it, and now they're saying that we're most likely are going to see a much higher activity, storm activity, with them saying 19 named storms, 9 hurricanes, and 4 major hurricanes. The Weather Channel as well said they came up with even higher prediction. They're calling 20 named storms, 8 hurricanes, 4 major hurricanes, with I believe this is a University of Arizona, which looks kind of funky to me, but they're actually calling for pretty much an average season, which is, I based on what I'm seeing and all the data that we're gonna look at, I don't think that's gonna happen. Now, let me go back and show you what the Sarasota meteorologists say this year. So now they're actually calling for 22 named storms. So this have been the highest prediction I've ever seen so far for this 2022 hurricane season. Between 9 and 11 hurricanes and 5 major hurricanes predicted. I mean, this is extremely busy. I'm not saying we're gonna see a 2017 season that it was hyperactive and we saw multiple major hurricanes, but there's a chance that we may see something like that. Now, let me also show the radar right now. As you guys can see, not much going on. Just some rain bands in the middle of the Atlantic. I mean, across a big portion of the Atlantic and the Caribbean Sea as well. But right now, if you guys have noticed as well, we see some precipitation here, some storm system, and also in southern Texas and Mexico border. Since December, we have seen quite a few what's it called? Tornadoes. It has been so far a busy tornado season. So it has been many years that we don't really have a strong tornado season. Now, let me go back and show you sea surface temperatures right now, the changes. As you can see here, we are seeing a slight warming up of the Pacific, but the majority of it is cooled off to the point where we are definitely in La Nina territory. Now, here in this area, we have seen on the main development region area on the Atlantic, we actually have had a little bit of a cool down in the past few weeks, but it's starting to change. It's starting to reverse back and start to warm up. Now, we're still early in the season. Not even in the season yet. We're actually very early. We're almost getting there, but it's still early in the year. Let me put it that way, in the year. This is going to change. Soon as May comes around, June comes around, July, August, September, which is the peak of the season, this is definitely going to be fairly warm. Now, why is this important? Well, if the Pacific is actually cooler than normal, that means we're in a La Nina, and that will reflect in favorable conditions for the Atlantic. In other words, more storms in the Atlantic. These are the current surface temperatures in the Caribbean. As you can see, the majority of it is in the 80s or high 70s, and all we need really is high 70s to roughly 80 degrees to support tropical formation. So April 20th is today, 2022, and you can see that a good portion of the Caribbean and the majority of the Atlantic is actually warmer than usual. Now, if we go back, and let me see if I can find one here for the Atlantic. I mean, further out, you can see high 70s here, which is where the path of the majority of the storms come through anyways. A little cooler in the shelf waters here around land, but this water around here is so shallow that it doesn't take much for it to warm up, and that's what probably we're expecting to see. It's a quick warm up to support activity. Excuse me. Now, this is why it's important. I wanted to show you this graph as well. And this graph here represents this area. Let me see, where is it? Basically, this area right here, the 3.4 region of the Nino area. So when we see this graphic here, this is what I wanted to show you also. The more plus that it reflects, that means we're in El Nino territory in the Atlantic area for the Atlantic hurricane season. Right now, as you can see, we have been pretty flatline between half a degrees Celsius to 1 degree Celsius or negative in the downward area. So that means the La Nina. It kind of dipped down a little bit in March. It popped up a little bit, but you're starting to see how it's starting to dip again. Now, we'll see how much further down it goes into the La Nina territory. But everything is pointing to we definitely going to have a La Nina season for sure. This is what it means. So this is the norm. Further up, now this is a pretty good chart here because let me show you the other one. Here it tells you what seasons have been incredibly in the El Nino region. Now, one interesting thing is that this is not set in stone. As you guys can see here, the 1997 to 1998 season was an El Nino. Now, the 1998 season was a very busy hurricane season. We had hurricanes like Mitch, which unfortunately it caused a lot of devastation and loss of life in Central America, as well as Puerto Rico. I remember I was living in Puerto Rico in 1998, and we had Hurricane Georges come through, which it was actually a Category 3 at landfall. Now, 2016, we also saw hurricanes like Matthew here in Florida, in the Bahamas. It did quite a bit of damage in the Haiti, the country Haiti. Now, as far as La Nina, 2010 was an extremely busy season. Coming off from the El Nino season of 98, you got 99, 2000. 1999 did produce quite a few storms as well. So we'll see how much deeper we get into La Nina territory, but it's going to be interesting. Now, I wanted to share something as well with you guys. I was actually doing a little bit of research, and interesting fact is, we have had before, we are in a period where we have had 2 seasons back-to-back of La Nina. We're entering into a 3rd season this year, 2022. Why is this actually important? Well, it is important because it has only happened 3 years back-to-back twice before. It was 1950s, and I want to say it was in the 90s it happened again. We are for the 3rd time into that same scenario, but what the difference is that this year, as a 3rd year in being in La Nina is expected to strengthen, and that's something that has never happened before. We have had the 2 other times that has happened. By the 3rd year, La Nina did strengthen a little bit, but the key factor here is that sea surface temperatures were starting to cool off and not warm up how is expected to happen this year. So this will be the first time ever that we're going into a 3rd year of La Nina plus warming sea surface temperatures instead of cooling off. So that is a key for this 2022 hurricane season, that we may potentially see a extremely busy season, or potentially a hyperactive season as well. Now, it's a matter of waiting to see what happens, but right now everything is pointing out that we are actually going to see a fairly busy season. Now, let me show you the forecasting models. Right now, we're not expecting much, but I still will show them to you guys. If we move towards the future here, you see quite a few moisture spots north of Cuba, Hispaniola. Let's move a little bit more towards the future, but a little bit of low pressure, a small low pressure down here that is kind of crossing Hispaniola, but it doesn't seem like it's going to develop into anything. That was the GFS, or the American model. Now let's check the European model, which is, for many years, it was one of the forecasting models that actually was looked at with high regards. It hasn't done well in the past few years, like probably 2-3 seasons, specifically the last 2 seasons. So I'm not sure if it's gonna hold to that status. The Canadian model, same thing, a little spin up of low pressure here, and the Navy model is actually not really showing much neither. I mean, it's actually showing more precipitation. Big system here of precipitation, another smaller system here. Tons of precipitation through Mexico, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean, and a big frontal system here as well, extending all over the United States, pretty much in Canada. So it's quite a bit of precipitation. But historically, the Navy model has not been great. It has not been that great. So I wouldn't take this to heart. Just as a reference, but not really any, basically with any, worries or anything like that. So that's what I wanted to show you guys. That's it for this video. I want to kind of keep it short. I'm going into 15 minutes actually. But again, everything is pointing out that we are going to have a busier season than normal. Hopefully, we don't see a hyperactive season, but it's always possible. And especially with Colorado State University citing a much busier than normal season, they are typically pretty modest or reserved. They kind of usually issue the first forecast kind of reserved, and then they bump it up as they see the season developing. But the fact that they have actually already come up with higher numbers, that's something that we have to pay attention to. But other than that, I appreciate you guys' time. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, share this video with family and friends. And until the next video, have a good day.